Austatud kohalviibijad, head kolleegid, üliõpilased, külalised, õnnitlen teid Eesti iseolemise 170. aastapäeva. Paraku on 24. veebruarist saanud Ukraina
24th of February has become the counter of the years of war in Ukraine,
püüab seda loendurit peatada.
although the entire free world is trying to stop this
Ukrainlastele
counter.
on võit mõistagi elu
Victory
ja
is, of course, a matter of life and death for Ukrainians.
Ukrainaga solidaarsetele riikidele.
For the countries who are in solidarity with Ukraine, it would mean the triumph of European values and a reaffirmation of European unity. For Estonia, however, in addition to everything else, it would also mean regaining our own festive day, the right to enjoy, rejoice without worrying on our own Independence Day. Some weeks ago, the parliament speakers of the Baltic countries, Finland and Poland met here in the Assembly Hall in order to exchange ideas on how to achieve just and lasting peace in Ukraine. The discussion held on the occasion of the anniversary of the Tartu Peace Treaty carried an optimistic tone that it is possible to put an end to the war. The parliament speakers did not only focus on ensuring the material strength which is required for victory in their statements, but they also recalled wisdom which is known across times, that peace is much more than the absence of war. And I would like to quote, Putin's dream is a divided Europe, while a united Europe is his nightmare. This was said at this meeting by the Marshal of the Sejm of Poland, Szymon Hołownia. We know from history, and we are also witnessing it now, how easy it is to influence individuals in such a way that the result would be the decision made
enamuse otsus
of a nation or more narrowly of the majority of the electorate to shake the agreements and values that have so far existed within one country and between different countries. In the current situation, it is very important that the psychological defense of each member state and the common psychological defense of Europe would also withstand currents from both from the east and the west. European countries together need to focus on what kind of peace we and Ukraine want. It is worth bearing in mind the recommendation made last week by Jonathan Vseviov, the Chancellor of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Estonia, to keep the focus on the most important, to ensure that aggression does not prevail, that Estonia remains in Europe, and that Europe as a whole survives. Recently, I had the honor to participate in a conference at the French Institute of Higher National Defense Studies in a discussion devoted to hybrid warfare. And this is a think tank which is convened by the Prime Minister of France, comprising mainly of senior military officers. And they confirmed that France is with us and also that Estonia's experience in realistically perceiving the threat from the east is very welcome to ensure that the West does not underestimate the seriousness of the situation. Europe is beginning to understand that what we have called soft power so far needs at least as much attention as the increasing defense spending of each individual country and also providing military equipment to Ukraine. However, the Western countries' perception of threat has so far remained rather abstract. Universities are particularly expected to be involved as possible in the debate on situational awareness. Understandably, universities do not get involved in politics, but our role in researching influence activities, cybersecurity and international law, sharing the resulting knowledge with society and giving advice to government leaders is indispensable. Estonian leaders, but also Estonian universities, must tirelessly disseminate practical knowledge about our hostile neighbors' pattern of thinking and action, and also see that the West does not let down its guard once again. The somewhat dormant West has now awakened, and this is also our chance to make ourselves heard. We know and remember that securing the frontiers between imperialism and independence, we need to be ready at all times and with all the tools we have at hand, armed with identity-affirming stories and insightful day-to-day politics, as well as effective sanctions and military equipment. But it is also our task to make sure that Europe does not make decisions that throw the development of society out of balance. It is important to keep calm and maintain our common sense, as President Karis of Estonia underlined after the Munich Security Conference. According to the President, Europe is strong enough, but we must also make this strength visible.
ja kindlameelsus
We must continue to develop Europe with the same calm and determination
jõuna.
as a unified and leading force.
Euroopa peab ise
Europe
hakkama
must cope and manage on its own, but not just with military defense.
just praegu
Right now,
Euroopa Liidu
in the run-up to the next European Union budgeting period, plans are being made to close the innovation gap with the United States and China.
selleks loodud konkurentsivõime
For that purpose, a competitiveness compass is designed, and it focuses on boosting innovation based on the industry's current needs,
kahetsusväärselt vähe
but it has regrettably little support for cutting-edge science and basic research.
me oleme Gildi ülikooli
With the Guild network of universities, we have also drawn attention to that, pointing out that Europe's competitiveness policy needs to be future-proof
paindlik
and flexible in order to respond quickly, not only to new technological trends and challenges, but also to societal ones.
ja ühiskondlikele probleemidele. Kui
If we focus narrowly on economic competitiveness,
konkurentsivõimele
both basic sciences and the development of the skills we need to cope with an uncertain future are at risk.
toime kogu selles ebakindlas tulevikus. Pealegi,
Moreover,
millise turbulentsi
having seen the turbulence that the newly re-elected president has already caused in American universities,
katkestades
cutting off funding to fields of research that he does not like,
on Euroopal
Europe will hopefully have enough wisdom and strategic vision
strateegilist vaadet
to give even more prominence to the research done in our own universities.
rohkem kilbile tõsta. Esmaspäeval
On Monday, we celebrate the birthday of the Republic of Estonia.
ainuüksi meie vabadus
Our freedom to celebrate our country's independence
on,
day is invaluable in itself.
kui paavst Franciscus
When
aasta eest
Pope Francis
külastas,
visited Tallinn 5 years ago,
ma tsiteerin,
he referred to Estonia as a land of memory.
ta sõnas, et me
He
peame
said
mäletama kõik,
that we had to remember all those men and women
et
who
vabadus saaks tulla.
strove to make freedom possible.
Ja paavsti tsiteerides
And to honor them, the Pope said
neile au
that
andmiseks,
it is now necessary,
ma tsiteerin teda,
and I would like to quote, it is now necessary to blaze new trails for generations to come.
ilmselt soovisid need mehed ja need
These men and women evidently wanted future generations to know how to defend the freedom they had fought for
seda kaitsta.
and also to appreciate it and enjoy it.
Me peame endale,
We need to remind ourselves more often
kui hea koht.
what a wonderful place we have been given to live in.
Vaadakem kas või
Just take a look at Estonia's position in international social progress indexes in various fields.
rahvusvahelistes indeksites. Isegi kui me
Even if we occasionally drop
aeg-ajalt langeme,
in an indicator
Eesti üldseisund
or a ranking, Estonia's overall position is mostly excellent.
ja hiljuti saime
We have recently also received confirmation that in global comparison,
on vabas Eesti
people with higher education from Free Estonia are at the absolute top in terms of their skills.
tipus.
So we have
Nii et
very much to appreciate
mida hinnata,
and to enjoy.
seega
Thus,
on ka
we also have much to keep
kaitsta.
and to protect.
Elagu Eesti!
Long live Estonia!
Austatud rektor, linnapea
Honorable Rector,
ja akadeemiline perem,
dear Mayor,
kallid külalised.
dear academic family, friends, colleagues. Today, as we anticipate the festive day, the title of my talk today, The Deterring Power of Words, might seem a bit inappropriate. It should be about something more cheerful. However, the Republic of Estonia was not given to us more than 100 years ago for a nice smile. It had to be fought for. And freedom had to be defended then, as it has to be defended now. Defending a state, however, is more than just guns. So-called battles are also fought with words, images and narratives that gain influence and frighten us if we are to believe in them collectively. So war is also fought for our heads and our hearts. With the European migration crisis, the global COVID pandemic and Russia's war of aggression in Europe, concepts such as information warfare, information operations, hybrid warfare, asymmetric threats, non-state actors, etc., have entered the public debate. And one concept that has entered people's vocabulary, particularly in connection with the war in Ukraine, is deterrence. What is deterrence? It can be understood as a set of military, political and symbolic actions aimed at preventing an adversary from considering actions against us. And we can do this by expressing our readiness and willingness to defend ourselves or respond forcefully. My focus in my today's lecture is primarily on symbolic action or information security, and what we can do better ourselves to avoid being discouraged while demonstrating also our preparedness and will to defend ourselves. As with the concept of information warfare, the role of general public or the audience or all of us sitting here has also become central to the understanding of deterrence, because effective deterrence relies to a large extent on credibility, emotional belief that the audience has in it. In both cases, a major problem has become the question of whose objectives are served, as certain topics often spread uncontrolled, especially in a digitalized information environment, which is the main information channel we have at the moment. We know that the imagination of social media users have led to some messages gaining a lot of attention and spreading or becoming viral, as they say. In these situations, contradictions in a cultural space and double meanings are taken advantage of. In situations of crisis, information manipulation is also amplified by the tone of fear, which functions as a guiding factor in the media audience's meaning-making. In this context, scaremongering is often used as a tactic to draw public attention to the problem, negative headlines, bloody photos, and to encourage people to act. And fear can therefore be seen as one of the most mobilizing forces that can either justify or, on the contrary, undermine different political decisions. But what is fear, actually? As a semiotician, I try to give an answer with the help of the cultural semiotician Juri Lotman, who has said that fear is at its most terrifying when the frightening phenomenon itself is nowhere to be seen, but it can only be imagined. In this case, the objects of fear are often mystified and semiotically constructed. The object of fear, or the thing we are afraid of, is the birth of the semiotic codes by which a society signifies itself and the world around it. In sum, our fears are often the face of our culture and the result of our culture. Moving now from semiotics to security studies, we have the concept of strategic culture, which refers shortly to the shared beliefs and experiences that shape a country's security policy and responses to threats. This also explains why different countries perceive threats and security differently, as our perception of security problems is largely determined by our past cultural experience.
Ning siinkohal kultuuri mõju julgeolekut
The influence of culture on our awareness of security threats can help us to better understand them and develop counter strategies, and also vice versa. Completely ignoring or overreacting to them can become an obstacle to adequate responses.
Me teame, et Eesti lähtub oma riigikaitse
We know that Estonia's national defense is based on a broad concept of security, one part of which is the psychological protection of the population.
strateegiadokument.
And in the strategy document you can read, the aim of psychological protection is to prevent the emergence of panic, the spread and impact of hostile influences and misinformation, thereby ensuring confidence in the state and national defense activities.
Suurem hirm ja
The role of fear and panic is acutely evident in times of turmoil and disaster, when people have lost a clear orientation in their understanding of the world. The events referred to at the beginning of the speech, migration crisis, the pandemic, the war in Ukraine, are certainly among those that trigger confusion and fear in society.
Kui hirm aga väljendub ennekõike
If fear is expressed first and foremost in the interpretation of various anticipatory signs such as frightening and dangerous, then the more effectively the opponent is intimidated.
vastukaja tekib.
Therefore, the more effectively we are deterred, the more it resonates with us.
Vastaspoole
One of the aims of psychological defense is to explain the credibility of an opponent's deterrent intimidation and to help us overcome
võib
and become aware of our potential vulnerabilities and strategic cultures.
heidutada saaks.
In other words, our cultural memory narratives, which the opponent might first deter, whether through words or actions. We have entered an era of strong confrontation with Russia. It is as if we were taken for granted that the Kremlin is trying to influence the Western world with its information manipulations, and it is very good at it.
Lause esimene pool.
The first half of the sentence is true,
Venemaa ja tema eelkäija
but propaganda has been done by Russia and its predecessor, the Soviet Union, all the time. Whether such information manipulation is always successful is a matter of judgment.
on väga raske
The effectiveness of propaganda is difficult to measure and depends on many factors, such as how fertile
mõjutus langeb,
or discontented particular information effect falls on.
mida Venemaal
Despite Russian rhetoric about weapons without analogues,
ning olgu selleks Oresnik või
be it Oreshnik or Armata tanks, in practice they have not added credibility to Kremlin's military deterrence.
pärast oli esimene
After all,
varasema raketi
the first was a modification of an earlier missile, while the Armata tanks were already dismantled in Red Square during the Victory Day parade.
Sellegipoolest kujutavad
These are signs that the fear of Russian military as the second army in the world has been major concern for some.
kui Kremli sõnul teise armees maailmas on mõne jaoks suureks tähendustanud. Kuid kas ei olnud
But was this not also the case in the early days of the War of Independence of Estonia, when the fear of going to war against Russia was not only felt by the schoolboys who were among the first to take up arms?
peaksimegi siin
In order to strengthen psychological defenses, we should be aware of the groups at risk of manipulation and understand their backgrounds, fears and expectations, which make them susceptible to the narratives mentioned above.
sarnasel viisil tundub mulle
In a similar way, we should think about what should be the characteristics of Estonia's strategic culture.
ja kuidas
One of the cornerstones of Estonia's identity today is the e-Estonia's success story that started with the Tiger Leap,
nurgakive
which in its self-descriptive view sees us as an innovative and digitally advanced nation.
näeb meid innovaatilise ja digitehnoloogiliselt kõrgelt arenenud rahvana. Selles loos võib
The
isegi
story
edasi Jakob
carries forward the idea of an Estonian writer, Jakob Hurt, who once said that a nation small in number must be great in spirit. Small in number, however, also refers to one of our vulnerabilities, which may not always be sufficient to defend the other Estonian narrative of love and freedom,
ning vastane
the culmination of which we are celebrating here today.
lood Eesti poliitilise
Stories about the
Euroopa Liidu
purity of the Estonian political elite in the face of EU and NATO allies, or the theft of democracy associated with a preparation, are examples of such narratives attacking the vulnerability of strategic culture. Let's recall that in early February, an article on the security of e-elections sparked a debate that provoked angry reactions on social media. So we did not have to wait until the elections to see an explosion of such polarizing stories in social media. It is important to recognize here that social media manipulation is becoming increasingly hidden. It is a mistake to think that the Kremlin wants to turn us towards Putin. The aim is to deepen social divisions by amplifying all sorts of polarizing narratives that resonate with and are accepted by the audience. Be it the security of e-elections, Nursipalu, or the drama theater's old age identity show. And in crisis situations, we need to be aware of the psychological mechanisms of influencing techniques in order to reduce the freedom of criticism that comes from inattention, automatism, and emotion, and also to maintain a clear head. But psychological protection has another and perhaps a key purpose: to promote social cohesion and the will to defend. The prospect of success is therefore greater if we can propose narratives that unite different groups in society. In the context of the war in Ukraine, we have seen that the front line among the Russian-speaking population often runs between generations. A recent report by NATO strategic communication expert published late last year analyzed the destructive narratives circulating on social media and their impact in the Nordic countries and Estonia. These are stories of fear, instability, and catastrophe, with the hostile aim of destroying a country or society and spreading mistrust. One of the results of the study was that the destruction narratives caused greater decrease in political trust among Russian-speaking audiences in Estonia than among Nordic audiences. Higher levels of anger and fear were also observed. Political trust among Estonian-speaking audiences remained almost unchanged by the destruction narratives. Thus, it could be concluded positively that Estonia should continue to emphasize the historical narrative and national identity in order to counter the Kremlin narratives. At the same time, however, specific strategies should be developed to address the Russian-speaking population in Estonia, in order to increase their resistance and awareness of propaganda mechanisms. Perhaps such coherent strategies should also be more forward-looking and rely more on finding cultural and social common ground, especially with those with whom this is possible, rather than treating everyone as a single individual. Just as a deeply conspirational person cannot be persuaded of the inadequacy of his position, there will always be those for whom Russia will remain a liberator, state that will always love peace. To sum up, it is precisely the identity stories that operate deep in cultural memory, which, when contradicted, make the decision-making process dependent on emotions and lead to the reduction of complex socio-political problems to black and white yes and no alternatives. Unfortunately, today's media landscape supports messages based on speed, brevity, and conflict, where the background information that reveals the meaning of the messages is often too much. Therefore, introducing aspects of meaning-making in a media-driven world And the basic psychological mechanisms of this information could be part of education and lifelong learning to minimize the deterrent power of messages. Thus, talking about things that are not scary and dangerous is not the problem. You need to speak about these things, but the problem is how do we speak about those dangerous things? To keep the home in order, the head must be clear. If our heads are clear, our homes are tidy. And then we are worthy of Estonia. Thank you very much and congratulations to Estonia.
head aktusel osalejad oleme jõudnud
Ladies and gentlemen, we have received 2 acknowledgements and awards.
Tartu Ülikool annab välja 3
As of 2021, Tartu University issues 3 awards: Contribution to Society Award, Research Award, and Language Award, in order to recognize people for excellent research results, work in higher education, and increasing the visibility at the university as well as in the society. Contribution to Society Award will be given to a member of the university or a working group that has significantly influenced the development of society in the previous year. The University of Tartu's 2024 Contribution to Society Award is the University of Tartu's Movement Lab that improved the health and well-being of children and young people. The Movement Lab's School That Encourages Movement program has reached more than 200 schools. From now on, upper secondary schools are also included in it. With the help of the program, schools can promote health and well-being of children and young people by adapting the school's day and culture. Since autumn 2024, a modern physical education curriculum developed by the Movement Lab has been implemented in schools. Merike Kull, associate professor, and her working group are the ones to receive the award. You can see them in the photo in front of you. And please, Merike Kull, please come and accept your award. So please smile into the camera. Andreas Dennoste will make a photo of you for our archives. So smile, please. And you will also need to sign. Is this correct? Yes. Yes, you will need to sign as well. Next, the University of Tartu's Research Award recognizes an academic staff member or working group who has distinguished themselves with an exceptional basic or applied scientific achievement in the previous year. The University of Tartu's 2024 research achievement is the discovery of cloud snowing caused by anthropogenic air pollution. The working group of the Climate Research Center of the Institute of Physics is investigating the extent to which the effect of anthropogenic air pollution particles on clouds reduces the global warming caused by anthropogenic greenhouse gases. The aim of the work is to specify the strength of the climate impact of human activity in order to prepare reliable climate forecasts and shape science-based climate policy.
On kliimafüüsika kaasprofessor Velle Toll.
Associate Professor Velle Toll and the team. Please, again, you see them in front of you.
Allkiri ka auhinna kättesaamise kohta. Tartu Ülikooli
The University of Tartu
ülikooli liige,
Language Award
kes on eelnenud
is given to a member of the university or a working group who has distinguished themselves in the previous year by valuing the Estonian language in fulfilling the university's goal, providing higher education, conducting research, or serving society. The University of Tartu's Language Achievement and Award of 2024 is to the preservation and development of Finno-Ugric languages by creating a digital translation option. In addition to Estonian, Finnish and Hungarian, which are available in many translation systems, the translation engine Neuro Translation also allows you to translate to Livonian, Võro and other smaller dialects. Adding Finno-Ugric languages to the Neuro Translation portal is the work of researchers and developers from the Institute of Computer Science at the University of Tartu. The next planned steps are to improve the translation quality and take into account dialects and other variants of the supported languages. Mark Fischel and his team. Please. The University of Tartu's Teaching Staff of the Year 2024 award recognizes one lecturer in each field who has excelled in teaching in the previous year. Nominations are made by the students. The Student Council in each field selects the 5 best lecturers in the field on the basis of good teaching practices. The prize has been awarded since 2006, and Lecturers of the Year will receive a silver badge designed by the jeweler Julia Maria Künnap, who has also designed the rector's insignia. I'm pleased to give the floor to Teele Kanarbik, President of the Student Union. The University of Tartu has a great number of excellent lecturers, and it is a great honor for me to stand before you in order to honor and recognize the most outstanding of them. A total of 111 lecturers from the University of Tartu were nominated this year, all of whom are certainly worthy of the title of Lecturer of the Year. The sectoral student assemblies and the Lecturer of the Year committee worked hard in order to screen this year's brightest lecturers. Students appreciated comprehensive and supportive materials prepared by the lecturers, equal and human approach to each student, and the integration of theoretical knowledge with practical examples. The nominees were praised for creating very supportive and versatile and student-friendly learning environment. The nominees for the 2024 Lecturer of the Year Award in the Humanities and Arts are in front of you on the screen. Students have described their Teacher of the Year as follows. The lecturer is incredibly committed to making her classes varied, informative, and interesting. She is a great communicator and goes out of her way to pay attention to all learners. She is genuinely passionate and does not give up until all the students have got the hang of it. Creating a fun and energetic atmosphere that makes students feel comfortable speaking Estonian is not neglected. She treats each student as an individual and finds interesting ways to teach the language. Her lectures and seminars are the highlight of every day for students and the most enjoyable learning experience. The lecturer does a rewarding job teaching Estonian language and culture to foreign students. Her groups are always full of interested students and her teaching is much appreciated by the students. University of Tartu Lecturers of the Year in Humanities and Arts is Peeter Tulviste.
aasta
2024 Lecturers of the Year in Social Sciences, you see in front of you on the screen. According to students, the Lecturer of the Year is balanced, open, thorough and considerate. He teaches the subjects with passion, is always full of excitement and energy when giving lectures and seminars, and she is never overcomplicated in the subject matter. On the contrary, she illustrates and presents information in a logical way. She teaches her students the importance of scientific rigor and is a great example. Beginning of each course, she discusses the subject with the students, asks for their input on the structure, sets important deadlines with them, finds out what their expectations are, and takes all this information into consideration when applying this in teaching.
Aga siiski on ta võimalusel alati vastutulelik ja arvestav.
She keeps to the agreements and does not make unfair concessions, but is always accommodating and considerate. The lecturer was responsible for the production of the first university textbook on special education. In cooperation with colleagues, a textbook was prepared. It is, for the students, important because it enables to prepare well for their BA exams. And it's also very good support for all of those working in the field of education. As a program manager, she also values the ideas of students. She organizes meetings with students and is open to feedback. In addition to all this, she organizes a Collect and Share event every spring in collaboration with students, aimed at sharing practical learning experiences. Lecturer of the Year in the field of social sciences is Pille Heidkind.
The
2024 Lecturer of the Year in the field of medical sciences are here in front of you. Students say that the lecturers of the year have made their teaching student-friendly and varied. Supporting teaching materials have been developed to prepare for contact learning. Lessons are always enriched with plenty of pictures, moments of relaxation, additional specialist information and jokes. Continuous feedback on learning is provided through tests in a free environment, in which awards are given to the best.
saavad alati
In
sõna kõik
the lectures and seminars, all students will have a say, and different skills are practiced one by one. The teaching materials they produce are comprehensive and clear, with the latest state-of-the-art information. The lecturer always has additional information and materials, be them textbook or internet pages, which help to also prepare for other courses. The specialty knowledge and broad horizons and wisdom always give answers to all the questions. And the lecturers is always actively involving people or young people, students in the research, and we see that his field is his passion. Maxim Zagura is the lecturer of the year of the University of Tartu in medical sciences.
aasta
2024 Lecturer of the Year nominees in the field of science and technology are here. The Lecturer of the Year sets the students in the foreground. The ways of teaching are very interactive and engaging for students. He always bases his teaching on the latest and most relevant research. He actively encourages collaboration between the students and encourages group work and discussions to help them learn from each other and develop their critical thinking skills. He's known for his creativity, which shines through his teaching methods. He uses handy tools to make complex molecular processes easier to understand. He also uses highly creative approaches such as acting and dance, which evoke good emotions in students and make learning memorable. He is constantly focused on improving his teaching and the development of his students. As a lecturer, he is always looking for new and better ways of presenting material and is open to feedback. His aim is to ensure that every student understands the subject. He always finds new ways to explain the subject in an interesting and simple way without oversimplifying anything. In the classroom, he brings practical examples to help students see how theoretical knowledge can be applied in the real world. This helps students to better understand and appreciate the relevance of what they are learning. On top of all this, he has been selected 5 times as a Lecturer of the Year of his institute. In the field of natural applied sciences, Lecturer of the Year, Tambet Tõnissoo.
Head aastaõppejõud, ma soovin teile palju
Dear Lecturers of the Year, I wish you much success and congratulations to you all.
Stipendiumid.
Now, the scholarships. Ernst Jaakson Memorial Fund Scholarship. It was established at the University of Tartu Foundation in 2000. From assets from the university by the Estonian diplomat and statesman Ernst Jaakson. The aim of the Memorial Fund is to support Estonian doctoral students, researchers and lecturers who continue their studies or research abroad. The idea of the scholarship is to foster a strong academic successor for the University of Tartu's research community. This year, we are awarding this to Kristjan Kalam. He has completed his bachelor and master's studies at the University of Tartu with outstanding results. And in 2020, he began his doctoral studies. His research focuses on the study of layers of solid-state materials that are measured in nanometers and are magnetically or electrically active. The subfield of material science and technology is called spitronics. Kristjan is a versatile and active young scientist who has enough energy for research, passing on his knowledge to students, and advocating for scientific thinking. In addition to all this, he also has time to devote himself to his family. Unfortunately, Kristjan Kalam cannot accept the award today because he is in Spain for his postdoc studies.
Lennart Meri.
Lennart Meri Research Award Fund was established in 2007 by the University of Tartu and the University of Tartu Foundation to commemorate Lennart Meri, the first president of the Republic of Estonia since regaining independence. In 2024, at the proposal of the patron of the foundation, Mrs. Sirje Karis, the legal scholar and attorney at law, Jüri Raidla, took over the management of the board. And this year we issue 2 awards for research and for master's thesis. Lennart Meri Research Award is awarded to an author or group of authors who have defended or published a high-level research work that deals with the Estonian state, people, culture or society. This year's award is given to an alumni of the University of Tartu, Timo Aava.
Timo
Aava defended his doctoral thesis at the University of Vienna in 2023, in which he analyzed the debates on cultural autonomy and the functioning of this idea, focusing on Estonia and other European countries in the first half of the 20th century. The doctoral thesis helps to better understand why the Estonian parliament adopted the Cultural Self-Government of Minorities Act 100 years ago. The doctoral thesis provides valuable information on the history and minorities and the history of Estonian thought and its connections with the rest of Europe. Timo offers new perspectives in his work how the concepts of non-territorial autonomy, originally formulated by Marxist scholars in the Habsburg Empire, were adapted and implemented in the Baltic provinces and later in the independent Republic of Estonia. Timo Aava cannot accept the award today because he is a visiting researcher at the London School of Economics and Political Science.
Lennart
Meri Master's Thesis Award is given to an author who has defended a master's thesis at the University of Tartu with a grade A, which deals with the Estonian state, people, culture, society. This year's award goes to Hegle Pärna. In her thesis, which was defended in 2024, she studies the development and use of generative artificial intelligence and related copyright issues. This topic has been particularly relevant in recent years as the development of generative AI uses large databases that also contain copyrighted works. However, according to the Hegle supervisor, junior lecturer in civil law, the work brings clarity to legal order and develops Estonian legal science. It is an interdisciplinary master's thesis in the writing of which the author had to apply legal knowledge to a new social phenomenon. Also, in doing so, she has analyzed how the European Union's artificial intelligence regulation, which entered force on the 1st of August 2024, will affect the developments. Hegle is not here to receive the award today.
Peeter Tulviste.
Peeter Tulviste Memorial Fund Award was established in the autumn of 2017 by the University of Tartu, Tartu City Government, Tartu Rotary Club, Estonia Association of Psychologists and Tartu University Foundation. The aim of the Memorial Fund is to support and recognize doctoral students and young researchers at the University of Tartu who are socially active, help to advance Estonian society and understand the cultural nature of people through outstanding teaching and research. This year, the €5,000 prize will be awarded to Uku Tooming, a researcher in theoretical philosophy in the field of humanities and arts. Uku defended his doctoral thesis in 2014. He's been a postdoc at the Harvard University, Hokkaido and Hiroshima universities in Japan and has worked as a researcher at the University of Tartu. In March, Uku will take up the position of associate professor. He's also an active member of the university's Young Scholars Council and the program director of the philosophy's bachelor curriculum. His research focuses on understanding the cultural nature of man. More specifically, Uku has studied, for instance, the relationship between imagination and will, and the temporal continuity of value judgments. Uku's research is interdisciplinary in his philosophical research. Professor Bruno Mölder, head of the Institute of Philosophy and Semiotics, describes Uku as a capable young researcher who has made a significant contribution to his field of research. Professor Mölder has also expressed the opinion that Peeter Tulviste would have also considered Uku a suitable recipient of the award. Uku Tooming, I believe, is here today. Correct? Yes.
Ja lõpetuseks üks ühine tugev aplaus.
And now a great round of applause to all of the nominees as well as the ones who really won the awards.
Austatud rektor,
Honorable
hea
Rector,
akadeemiline pere,
dear academic family,
hea Tartu Akadeemiline Meeskoor.
dear Academic Male Choir of the University of Tartu.
1262. aastal
In
kirjutavad
1262,
tartlased Lübecki
the
raele
people of Tartu
palvekirja
wrote a petition to the Lübeck Council
linnamüüri
for
ehitamise
support for the
toetuse
construction
saamiseks.
of a city wall in Tartu.
Kiri läheb Lübecki poole teele
The letter is sent to
pärast
Lübeck after the
Novgorodlaste
Novgorodian
rünnakut linnale.
attack on the city.
Tartlased
The
kirjutavad,
people of Tartu write,
meie kindlustus,
our
mida tehtud
fortification,
saab,
if it
on
is made,
kindlaks toeks
will be a firm
mitte ainult
support
meie provintsile,
not only for our
vaid
province,
kilbiks ka
but also a shield
paiknevaile maile
for
ja
the
eelmüüriks,
land below,
mis tagab elanikele
and
ohutuse,
a wall which will guarantee safety to the inhabitants,
rahu nii lähedal
prosperity to the
kui
passers-by,
kaugejaile.
peace for those near and far.
Ajalugu on näidanud,
History has shown
linnamüürid
that city walls do not usually
tavaliselt
hold,
ei pea.
and when they do,
Peavad,
they
siis
are held
juhtuvad need
in fairy tales.
tihtipeale muinasjuttudes. Nii ei pidanud uhked
So
ja
the
vägevad
proud and
linnamüürid
mighty city walls in Tartu did not hold either,
muinasjutulisel Tartul
and the fairy tale-like Tartu had to give away stones from the city wall many times in history.
läinud aastal ülikooli muuseumis
Last year, an exhibition, Invisible Tartu, was opened at the University of Tartu Museum on Toome Hill.
näitab tänu
It reveals the first layers of Tartu and, thanks to the in-depth work of historians,
väga toid appi
show
ka ülikooli
how
erialade esindajaid nagu geolooge näiteks.
and geologists, for instance, at the University of Tartu were invited also to provide some in-depth knowledge to prepare the exhibition.
Linn
This exhibition shows how and why the city came into being,
oma vapile ka
and how it later received the sword and the key to its coat of arms.
on Tartule
Keys and swords of history have brought pain and suffering to Tartu and Estonia throughout time,
ka mõõkade ja võtmetega
but
on Eestile
they have also helped Estonia win freedom and independence.
eestlaste imetabane
The wonderful ability of Estonians in the most difficult times and in the darkest of moments to find that tiny window of opportunity
millest oma vaimu mõõga
to slip in with their spirit and sword and secret keys
sisse pugeda,
and take it away
see oma asi
is already becoming a legend.
on saamas juba legendiks. Kuid samavõrra
But the opposite can be just as fragile if we forget to open these windows of time to our detriment.
lahti unustame. Filoloog ja tartlane
Marju Lepajõe, a philologist
on
and
väljendanud menetlust,
a citizen of Tartu,
kui
has expressed her admiration for the fact that between the 16th and 17th centuries,
umbes 70 aastat
approximately 70 years before the founding of the University of Tartu,
tabanud
Tartu was hit by very harsh wars, diseases, burning, deportation, massacres, famine and starvation, yet the city still managed to get back on its feet, despite the fact that there were times when the city had already ceased to exist.
ja juba akadeemia
And already in the first years of the Academia Gustaviana,
tegutsemisaastatel kirjutatakse
poetry is written,
luulet,
a printing press is set up,
trikikoda,
science is done,
teadust, kiigatakse taevatähte
stars are looked at with the telescope and the sky, and the foundations are laid for a strong academic network that knows no boundaries.
tarkusele
A
pühendatud
devotion to wisdom is the knowledge of divine and human things.
asjade teadmine, kõrgelennul
The source of the sciences of the high heavens.
nõnda on kirja pannud siinse akadeemia kreeka keele
These lines have been written down by Petrus Kochenius, professor of Greek language at the academy here, in 1634.
ja see ongi see, mis on Tartut
And this is something which has
maastikku
always been
hoidnud
preserving the academic landscape here in Tartu
läbi
and helping it come through the most difficult of times. It keeps us alive and hands us the swords and keys to the future of Tartu, as was the future of Estonia.
Eesti sünnipäeval
On Estonia's birthday,
on akadeemilise pere ees igati kohane rääkida vabaduse luulest,
we should speak about the poetry of freedom, the song festival year, and the year of the book, the arts of survival,
teadlaste tööst
and
rikastatud Ryoji Ikeda
Ryoji Ikeda's exhibition at the National Museum,
2. märtsini avatud.
enriched by the work of the university's Genomics Institute, which is, by the way, open until the 2nd of March.
Kuid jah, tõesti
And the national sciences that give our country strength and secure our independence.
muretseja.
But as Estonians, we already are and created as a nation who worries a lot.
Ventseli kõnedest kuulsime,
And
oluline,
as we heard in today's salutatory addresses, it is also important how we worry and how we think.
eks seegi, kui mõtleme ja muretseme,
When we think and
ole
worry,
meie ajaakna valvamisel ja
it is also
oluline.
an important activity when
Soovin
thinking about keeping us in peace and securing
hea
us.
akadeemiline pere
So dear students, dear academic family,
selle
let's
ajaaknal
be together
olgem
on the
rahus,
time window, be in Tartu, be in peace, and
ilusat Eesti
Tartu with
sünnipäeva.
peace. Happy birthday to Estonia,
Elagu
and long
Eesti,
live Estonia,
elagu Tartu Ülikool.
and long live the University of Tartu.
Austatud rektor, linnapea,
Honorable Rector, Mayor, distinguished guests, award winners, and the entire university family. On behalf of the students of the University of Tartu, I am addressing you today. I am proud that our Republic of Estonia, which is in some ways so big and at the same time so sweetly small, is already 107 years old these days. I am grateful that about 5 generations ago our forefathers and mothers fought for their right to decide their own future. It is the task of today's young people to remember at every step that the freedom and independence of a small country in a changing world are delicate treasures which should be well guarded. On the occasion of the upcoming celebration day, I invite you, dear listeners, to reflect on the value of thinking for yourself and on the ability of education. History has proven time and again that words on paper are even more fearsome and effective than weapons. What is written can easily be destroyed, but thoughts cannot be destroyed. It is education that has a central role to play in the transmission of ideas. Education is not just a privilege, but also a responsibility that requires a stable and supportive environment. The primary task of a student is to learn. In good faith, the same is true for students. But they must seek a balance between future-proofing studies and the everyday concerns of life. It is the hardships of coping that make student life not so joyful. Let me explain. The normal workload of a semester is 30 credits, which is calculated as 760 astronomical hours. If these are spread over a 5 calendar month semester, this makes up 39 hours per week. The working week of a full-time employee is about the same. If the working day ends at 5 o'clock, the student then goes to work to cover their costs of living. While many families find ways to support their young adult family members in difficult circumstances, many students are still left with fewer opportunities for good quality learning. The most effective way to reduce social inequalities is to invest in education, said President Lennart Meri. Just as our ancestors saw freedom as an opportunity to decide on their own future, today's young people have an expectation to develop the talents to contribute world-class knowledge to Estonia's future success. In this way, together we contribute to a fairer future. Speaking at the Rector's Council, Marju Lauristin discussed how higher education does not only affect the individual, but it is important for the livelihood of the society as a whole. Once a student is truly engaged in spiritual work, he or she will use their skills also in other areas of life, daring to remain critical at an age of information abundance. I wish that young people who were born with a poorer record would not have to admit that their education was blocked because of a miserable economic situation. I hope that today's decision makers will make decisions that do not turn university education into luxury. Only with the wisdom of each individual we can ensure that Estonia remains a self-reliant country, an innovative and equal partner for Europe and for the rest of the world. An educated and free thinker is the best defender of a cohesive Estonia. I wish us all the thirst for knowledge, the courage to think critically and act so that education will be available in Estonia in the future as well. Congratulations to you, dear Estonia.
Keha ei ole, kuid hommikul tõuseb mu vari. Ta tumedad sõrmed kobavad ust ja puhtaks küürib rohukastane hari. Kuid valgeks vari ei saa, ta ikka on tohutu must. Kuid valgeks vari ei saa, ta ikka on tohutu must. Pika peale kaob kaste see hommikuudus. Viidleb mu varju päikese põletav pilk. Nüüd närbub mu vari kui taim, kellel vööst puudus. Või vaebleb kui lootsikus siputav silk. Või vaebleb kui lootsikus siputav silk. Keha ei ole, kuid hommikul tõuseb mu vari. Mu keha ei ole, kuid hommikul tõuseb mu vari. Õhtul kui kraavides krooksuvad konnad kooris, mu vari saab juurde jõudu reipustuud. Siis aga kui orud on päikeseloojakul looris, asub mu vari kartmatult ootama kuud. Sinise plangu tõuseb punane kuu. Aias hämaralt naerab kõrvitsakari. Kõrvitsate vahel pleegivad mu luu. Keha on kõdunud, aes on vari. vari. See vari on suur ja niiske kui samet. Ukse siselt sirutub languni ta. Jere on punane kuuda kirte hame. Piirab mu varju üle taeva ja maa. Üle taeva ja maa.
Tere! Minu nimi on Vaiko.
Yes, hello, my name is Vaiko, and I'm very happy and very honored to be in front of you today in the cradle of Estonian education and culture. I was happy to start with a song composed by Andreas. The lyrics were composed by him, and being here in Tartu and singing his lyrics is always very special. And Tartu University Cafe, which is about 100 meters from here, was his favorite place for writing his lyrics. And as next, it's one tune created by myself. It's called Tomorrow. And this could be very fit for this anxious time, but let's not forget that when we think about tomorrow, there's a mix of anxiety as well as hope. So let's do hope that the hope part will prevail.
Ja kui homne päev on hall kui hall, kõiges kurja näen su jalge all, kui pudeneb klaas. Ja kui täide läheb su viimne soov, mida soovid veel, kas lõpp on loo või hommegi loos. Ja kui homne päev see kaasa viib, verivarju näeb, kui teisiti kõik teisel pool teeb. Kuni lendu läheb, meid hülgad ja vahel kus varjuna veel külastad ma. La 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 na 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 na, la 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 na 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 na. La 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 na 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 na, la 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 na na
mind on väga minu loomingus
In
inspireerinud
my
inimesed minu ümber.
creative work, I've been inspired by people surrounding me, Estonian culture,
Luulekogu,
and
film
books,
ja muidugi
lyrics I've read, films I've watched, and also Estonian nature. And I'm here a patriot of my own region, Raplamaa. The landscapes which have always inspired me
ja
as
paljastama ka oma
a composer,
väga puudulikud
an artist.
loodusteadustest.
And I'm not very well versed in exact sciences
Isa kutsus mind
because when I was small, after we'd taken care of animals in the evenings, then my dad invited me to come and
olemas teatud liik.
watch the foxes who are gray in the fog. I did not see how they look like exactly, and since I've seen wetlands specific features and creatures before, and I understood that there might be a special type of fox, and I also wrote a song about such foxes, which was unexpectedly popular very fast. And a couple of years later, I read something close to these foxes, word of saying, and I would like to dedicate this song to those who don't have such nice feet as those foxes have. And it seems that exact sciences and humanities together are that formulate the truth.
Raplamaa loodus küll ei võimalda.
The nature in Rapla County does not give such magnificent scenery like people in Brazil can enjoy looking at the ocean, creating beautiful bossa novas, watching the waves play. It is said that bossa nova is one wave in a big samba ocean. In Rapla County, I've also tried to create a little bit of bossa nova myself. When in the field of geography, I don't have to explain to you, I guess, that there's no ocean in where I come from. But I have understood that when driving around in the summertime or after the fields have been prepared for the next season in the springtime, you'd see that on the field you see a little bit like waves dancing. So one bossa nova from Rapla County that I created myself. I'd like to also greet all the award-winning nominees. I have to apologize, I have not taken any flowers or anything with me, but you get my best wishes.
Unustasin oma nelgid rongi, unustage selleks nad ehk ongi. Pingile tuluda kuppesse ja ligilja alles tulla meelde. Unustasin šampus sulle tuua, närtsid kodus soovides sai juua. Mina aga minnes seda tooma, unustasin laulma end ja looma. Teatrisse sind unustasin viia, nüüd on päris kindel enam siia. Oodatud ma pole sinu sängi, ümbritseb traataed ja sa ei mängi enam minuga. Sest ma unustasin oma nälgid rongi, praegu mõtlen ehk nii parem ongi. Igal loel kord taipab saabuma, peab päevil meile armastusest aitab. Pa-pa-pa, pa-pa-pa-pa, la-la-la-la. Unistades unustada võin ma mõndagi, kuid õnneks sulle tõin ka. Kinopiletid ei kahjuks meelde, mul polnud tulnud kohal olla tollel reedel. Mil õnne uimast tuigerdades ringi, unistasin sinust avas silmi. Sina aga üksi keset filmi, lahkusid ja peitma pidid silmi. Meist igaühe jaoks on kuskil keegi, meeldib meile see siis või ei meeldi. Igal loel kord taipab saabuma, peab päev meile armastusest aitab. Pa-pa-pa, pa-pa-pa-pa. Kuigi endist õrnust pole keeles, armastus nüüd hästi püsib meeles. Tassin sulle tulpisid ja roose, põhjustavad sused vaid neuroose. Proovinud me ammu kõiki poose, kes kalpi kannisid ja mängudoose. Kas aasta pärast olemegi koos veel ja millest armastus see üldse koosnes? See suur roosa buldooser. Meil nelkeb pilub rööbastele saatus, peagi algab kes teab mitmes vaatus. Igal loll kord taipab saabuma, peab päev mil meile armastusest aitab. Ja kui see ei aita, siis ehk hoidab päev, mil armastus meid paneb paika.
Selle viimast lugu ei oskagi ühegi kateedriga.
Last song cannot be put under any known category, but maybe we should not. The next tune has been connected to two alumni of Tartu University. One of them is Peeter Tulviste, whose poetry
eelmisel aastal kokku
served as a basis for us to create a new album. I will work as a salesman. We took a look at some of her poems first, but they were so good I could not stop myself. And among these texts was one poem which was called "Oh My Goodness," which after our research it became clear it was dedicated to Mart Lepik, the second husband of Peeter Tulviste, the author.
125 aastat. Ja tuleb välja, et see pöörane tekst.
And it seems that this crazy text is based on real life events.
Raske uskuda, et
it was very difficult for me to think that somebody could have such a poor faith, but
Lepik kõigepealt kaotanud töö, siis jäänud ühes silmas
Lepik lost his job, could not see in one eye, then stumbled, broke his leg, and "Oh My Goodness" is the name of the song. That's why.
Jeerum, sa kõnnid nüüd karguga, käin kõnnin jah kõbusal jalal. Jeerum, sa oled ka pime, no, mu teine silm on ju alal. Mis näed sa ühe silmaga, sind maailma ja taeva perve. Jeerum, su kuues on augud, mu kuub on aukude kõrvalt veel. Aukude kõrvalt veel terve. Jeerum, kus on su naine nüüd? Mu naine läks mere taha. Su õde sai surma trammi all. Su raamatud kõik põles maha. Jeerum, ja nüüd katusel ma elan kui ema süles. Jeerum, nii kõrgel, eks mindki viib raudredelid alla ja raudredelid alla ja üles. Jeerum katusel karguga raudredelit mööda nii kästi. Jeerum, kas midagi veel? Ei muud, ma kukkudes murdsin paar küljeluud ja muidu elan ma hästi.
Mulle väga meeldib see optimism selles tekstis.
I like the optimism in these lyrics. I wish the whole academic family this optimism so that the alumni of the university would also
kõik need kohutavad asjad sinuga juhtuvad.
take these things with them.
Veel üks Alberi tekst.
So another one of Alver's texts.
täis ebatähtliku maapäevaöö. Üks ainus ebaääretus ei kuskil. Üks ainus ebaäär ei kuskil. Kes kebalaotust ebaöö. Kes kebatähti ebahämaruski. Kes kebatähti ebahämaruski. Sul aga tuttav pimedus on täpne tunnikell. Suur hõljuvune häll ja helkias elumaja. Las puhkan veidi pärast päevatööd. Kuid ärata mind enne ebaööd. Ärata mind enne ebaööd. Sa vana ustav päeva ümardaja. Täis ebatähtliku maapäevaöö. Üks ainus ebaääretus ei kuskil. Üks ainus ebaaeg ei kuskil. Kes kebalaotust ebaöö. Kes kebatähti ebahämaruski. Kes kebatähti ebahämaruski.
Ma tänan teid sooja vastuvõtu eest.
Thank you very much for the warm welcome. And before my last song, I would like to wish you all a very happy anniversary of the Republic of Estonia and rapidly approaching spring. And to sum up, one tune from Canada, from a guy that I believe if the political situation would have enabled it, would have been born in the anniversary of the Republic and studied journalism at the University of Tartu. Unfortunately, it was not possible because Olav Kokkmelm, his dad, escaped in the 1940s and studied to become a journalist in the University of Montreal. But as being Estonian is a mystical thing which is kept within a person so deeply that every time I sing this song, it's not possible for me to believe that the author of this song has never visited Estonia before writing it. Through day and night.
Läbi päeva ja üle metsade latte, läbi radarivöö, üle aja ja elu, olgu halvas või heas, on paik, mida austan, mis on mu isamaa. On paik, mida austan, mis on mu isamaa. Ei ma ole seal sündinud, ei mu jalad seal käinud, ei mu silmata valu ega rõõmusid näinud, aga isegi kaugel mulle selge on see, et juured on pikad üle mandri ja vee. Et juured on pikad üle mandri ja vee. Kuigi sirgunud võõrsil, käinud võõramaadel, on mu soovid ja mõtted, kus mu rahvas ja keel. Oh Eesti, kas kuuled, kus mu süda sulle üle mere ja metsa, üle päeva ja öö. Läbi päeva ja öö, üle mere ja metsa, läbi päeva ja öö.
ei ole midagi.